Welcome back. This is Piers 12 Knitting. I'm Jennifer, and this is a knitting podcast all about knitting, yarn adventures, and travel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thrilled that you're here. Today we are bouncing in and talking about spring inspirational knits. So excited. What better place to do that than in Mexico, where there's just such vibrant culture, history, and color, of course. We are sitting in the resort, and it is a very eco-jungle area, so you're going to be hearing all of the nature sounds. Hopefully that inspires you too for some color and texture. What we're going to do to get started into the inspirational knit wear for the season, for spring and into summer, will be a Pinterest board, like a mood board that I put together. This idea I've adopted from Emily from High Fiber Knits, and I feel is such a great way to kind of dive into a new season. It really gets me inspired and kind of on task of like where I want to go. And I find this is really helpful with theme or thematic makes. So sewing, knitting, that kind of thing. Hopefully you enjoy it, and we'll get started. So as you see through the Pinterest board, we are not afraid of color. We are diving in hard and deep into bright colors. We have had in Toronto a very dark, dull, cold winter. It has been months, I feel, since I've seen the sun, except for coming here, which is gorgeous, of course. So I'm not afraid of bouncing in with some hyperized color. I am an 80s baby, and I feel like, pulling out those fun neons and great kind of contrasting bright colors. This is where my heart is going. I've got some ideas in mind for a whole like mono color knitwear that I'm going to be knitting and have already started knitting on. And then I have an idea for a color blocking piece that you're going to be seeing as we get into the discussion today. All right, so with the color, texture, and all of the fun that we just had on our mood board, we're now going to bounce in to some design, some pattern inspiration. I do want to share that I'm going to be starting with plant-based fiber tees, which is very out of my comfort zone. I have a number of plant-based fibers that I purchased at home and either have started knitting with, or have pulled out, or haven't even started and still are balled or skinned up. So hopefully this will be the time that I will knit one item, and the tee I think is it. The camisoles were not singing to me. Tees I think is where it's going to be at for me. We'll see if this stays true. We've got some designers that are very popular and some that are a little less, so hopefully you enjoy today. All right, my very first tee that I'm really excited about is I think the newest design from this designer. She is Lene Home Samso, and she has designed the Gappy tee. It is a beautiful t-shirt, knit tee with puff sleeves. I love ruffles, I love puff sleeves. If they are on trend or not, to me it doesn't matter. I really enjoy extra material in specific areas, and the sleeves is definitely one for me. This tee came out only in January of this year, so it's still a pretty new pattern, and hopefully you recognize it. If you don't, go check it out. It's really beautiful. It's a pattern that is worked in one piece, seaming of course, and worked top down, which is I think many preferred methods of knitting garments, top down for sure. It comes in sizes extra small to 4XL. Body circumference, it's probably a chest circumference, but it doesn't depict if it is. I assume it's probably the biggest part of the bust. We're looking at 85 to 141 centimeters, so fairly generous. But I think it looks easily modifiable as well if you need to pair up or pair down in sizing. The yarn that she's using is a different mix, and I enjoy, of course, with this designer that she doesn't only have one yarn recommendation, but there's a number of them. But she does use wool blends, cashmere, that kind of thing. I think I would use a cotton or cotton linen. I also have silk that's at home just sitting and waiting to be knit with. So this is a possibility. The stitch gauge is 22 centimeters. 30 row stockinette for your 4 by 4 inches or 10 by 10 centimeter swatch. So I think what I can do with this is use possibly 2 strands of the silk, pure silk by Knitting for Olive that I have. And I think it could be a really beautiful tee. I think I've got enough yarn or ball for this, and I love the simplicity of it. I also love how it's a tailored fit look, and I feel often for me this I find challenging to obtain and find in designs and then for my body, so I think this could be a really beautiful match. Another option by the same designer, Knit, I have the peacock tee. I have knit the peacock sweater before. It's a very, favored gauge for sure, full sleeve. This is the short sleeve edition, and I'll just tell you about it quickly. It's a lace motif that happens repetitively on the yoke. Really simple in my memory to follow. You have to have obviously the little pattern beside you, but it's very memorizable as you go. I found it very, intuitive as I went. And again, we've got a knit top down. It is a short sleeve, of course, ribbed at the end. We are looking at a 20 stitch gauge count per 10 centimeters or 4 inches on a swatch. I think, again, this could be really doable. This is, I think I would have to use cotton on this or multiple strands. So I think I've got, it's called Kriya cotton at home. I think I could go 2 strands held double, and I have that in white. This could be really, I think, kind of like an elevated basic tee. I have no knit days, so this could be a very welcome piece into my summer wardrobe. And white, obviously, is where I go often in the summer to contrast the bright whites that I often wear on the bottom, or opposite of whenever I'm wearing my skirts and my pants. My last knit tee option is by Petite Knit. This is the Rigmore tee. I have had this in my queue forever, very similar to the Clover tee by Knit. One of the big differences that I do find, this is a sweater construction worked in the round. This is bottom up. The Clover tee is worked top down. So that's one of the major differences. The reason why I would gravitate towards this version of the eyelet tee, because it's all over eyelets, is just that the eyelets are constructed all over the garment, on the sleeve, on the body, the yoke, which I enjoy, that completed look. Clover tee, I might just pop in a little picture. There's only eyelets in a certain location on the tee. It's not fully all the way down the body, the torso, so I want it all over. Perhaps it might be easier to just follow this pattern since I'm working on so many other things in my brain with calculations and my own flavor for the things I'm designing. I kind of want something that I can just lean on to hold my hand as I'm going. Along with the Rigmore tee, I'll give you some more info in case you're interested. We're looking at size X small to 5XL, so a 91 centimeter bust right up to 155 centimeters, even more inclusive than what we've seen already, and a 22 stitch gauge count. So this version they've done in a cashmere in the sample, but I believe also the white is a mix. I'm just looking here. It is Duo by Sangus Garn. That is, I've used that. It's a combination of merino and cotton, and didn't really enjoy it. Again, not a plant-based fiber girl, but this could be a kick on point, maybe, to try and embrace those plant-based fibers. So those are the knitted tees that I would definitely consider coming back into my yarn stash, pulling some plant-based yarns and knitting a very simple tee that I can, I think, wear and be very versatile within my wardrobe for spring. Next up, I'm going to look at cardigans. I have only knit one cardigan ever. The cardigan I knit was Petite Knit. It was the champagne cardigan. 100% modified that thing. I made it from, it was like this very, for me, hideously oversized construction of kind of that V-neck front with button band, the double knitting button band. I totally recalculated the entire pattern. it was a lot. It was a lot, and I feel in the end was worth it. The next time, I think I'll just hunt down a pattern of the vision I have in my head of cardigan, or I'll just make my own because I think I'm understanding cardigan construction, but I do want something super basic and simple. What I'm thinking on for spring is a riff of the cardigans I'm going to show you with a short sleeve. I really have this vision of like a short sleeve cardigan that I can wear with blouses or not. I have this whole thing on my brain. So the first one I'm going to show you is by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This is the cardigan number 7. I believe this is one of her oldest, or definitely, you know, it is an older pattern that she's come out with, and it's just exactly what I want. It is a raglan cardigan, worked top down on the stockinette. You've got ribbed edges on the cuff and the hem. You also have ribbing that includes the button band and the neckline. I assume, I have read everything, that you basically probably knit, you're knitting all flat all the time, and you're probably picking up for button band and for neckline. Got some ideas, I think, of what I would want to do instead of doing this traditional button band. Nothing wrong with it. Definitely have a vision. So I'm thinking about this. I don't know if I'm just going to visually go off this and do my own thing. I'm not there yet in my brain. This I also will share is less size range. It's an extra small to an XXL. The measurements are, what are they, 93 centimeters to 124 centimeter range. So again, quite limited, but again, older pattern. I wonder, I question, you know, that size inclusivity. This pattern probably didn't have to meet that kind of criteria then. And nowadays it's something that we've become accustomed to, which is lovely. The gauge we're looking at is a hefty gauge. This is a 14 stitch gauge count. Per 10 centimeters or 4 inches. So for that reason, this is a very wintry cardigan. If I were to follow the directions of the pattern, if I purchased it, this would be a very, you know, heavy duty sweater, one that I potentially would probably use for a long sleeve and act as a jacket almost in spring. But I think where I'm going with this, by looking a little more finely, this might not be the cardigan pattern for me at this time for spring, maybe more for cooler weather. Look at me as I'm like chatting to you, I'm deciding this. I have another cardigan, very similar and has a chunky gauge, but I think this is the visual that I want in my cardigan. I was gifted a pattern booklet. I'm going to talk about this in a second, from the Woolly Thistle. It is a pattern that came in the booklet, one of, I believe, 5 patterns, and this is called Victoria Cardigan by Corrine Tomlinson. She is the owner of Woolly Thistle and is just, again, a very simple raglan construction cardigan. Again, it looks like you pick up the button band. It looks like it's a 2x2 ribbing and for the neckline, but I love the simplicity of it. It's really cute. The gauge, and I do have to scroll quite a bit. The organization is, she's got a lot of content about the sizing, so I'm just having to dip down. The gauge is a 16 centimeter stitch gauge count for 10 centimeters or 4 inches. So just to compare and contrast, cardigan number 7 was, where was that? That was 14. So this one's slightly thinner, not much. But again, I think this is what I'm after. I'm after kind of a classic cardigan. This one also looks like, looking at the schematic, it looks like it has some decreases that happen to cinch the waist in and follow the waistline, and then increases to follow the hip line. I think I'd be more interested in making like a boxier fit without the shaping in it, which I'm sure, you know, we can figure out no problem on this one. That's Victory Cardigan. And now I get to share about my affiliate link. I'm really excited to share about this. I included the link in my last video, but didn't get a chance to talk about it yet. So I have had the privilege to create affiliate link with the Woolly Thistle. They're a beautiful independent yarn shop, virtual and in person, and they have a beautiful array of very woolly wools that are coming from the UK and Europe. They definitely resonate with me. In the past, I purchased a gift card for a girlfriend who lives in San Francisco, and it was the easiest process to do. She purchased some beautiful woolly wools, so exciting. The owner, Corrine, who I met 2 years ago down at Rhinebeck, lovely human. Corrine also has a shop cast where the objective of that podcast is sharing about the content of what they have at their beautiful shop, as well patterns and pairings. It's such a stunning little piece of yarny goodness, and I feel this is their entire store, which is why I was really excited to collaborate with this link with them. Full disclosure that if you click on the link that is in the show notes and dabble around, do a little window shopping, maybe make a little purchase, there is a very small percentage of commission that I do receive from it. So I very much thank you if you are in the world of shopping for some beautiful wools, to go check that out and support me. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. Moving on with a cardigan, I have one last cardigan option that I'm looking at creating this spring. Is the Felix cardigan by Amy Christoffers or Savory Knitting. This is definitely not a new design, but one that I have had in my head that I would like to knit forever. I've met the pullover, the Felix pullover 3-4 times, and it's such an easy, pleasant knit. It's very easy to wear. For the cardigan, I imagine it would be the exact same thing, but what I'm thinking of, and maybe I'll tell you about the design first a little in case you would like to know about it. We're looking at an Aran weight cardigan, top down. We have 14 stitches per 10 centimeters or 4 inches. So again, pretty hefty, but this is extremely modifiable. So again, I don't feel, fearful about going in with a much thinner yarn option for spring. I think this is great. They have, of course, those iconic little V eyelets that are created on the increases where the raglan stitches would go at the shoulder line. So beautiful. What I'm thinking, my vision, if I went this route, is to create a neckline that is much more cinched in, closer to the neck, similar to my keyhole, Kingsburg keyhole pullover that's in testing right now. I really like a closer sitting neckline of sweater, and so I think for cardigan this would also be my vision instead of having it a little looser around my neck. What I'm also thinking of for this, again, is a much lighter gauge so that I can get wear out of this cardigan in the spring months. I'm considering making this a short sleeve as well, one that I wouldn't have to wear anything underneath if I didn't want to. And I'm also thinking of modifying the button band. I have this very sharp idea in my mind. I'll say clear idea of my mind what I would like a button band to look like, that I think can be done. I don't know if it's been done before. It's a different technique that I've come up with in my brain at 3 a.m. where I think I can apply to any cardigan. So I think this could be kind of me dabbling to see how that goes. That's the Felix cardigan option by Amy Christoffers. Next up, and these are, I'm just being very open with you, and I hope this is okay, and not considered selfish, but I really love knitting the favorite Fingerless mittens. This is, of course, is my own design. I'm not just saying to plug it here. I knit these throughout the year. They're just a really simple little stockinette, silly little mitt that I put on all the time and variety of months. And spring is definitely a favorite time to be wearing these little mitts. I've come out with 2 gauge options. There's a bulky and a worsted weight. The worsted is perfect for 2 strands held double of Rama Phenol. I find that 2 strands, it's sport weight yarn held double, makes a really beautiful worsted, especially when blocked. And I've got tons of Rama at home of fun pops of color. love the pops of color in the spring, so I will probably kick out a couple of those at some point with Subway knitting, just because I've given so many away that I feel like I need to create my pile of favorite Fingerless mittens back up. And I do have an idea for my plug and play slip over. I knit this a couple times already in really beautiful, I would say more like fall-y colors, which, you know, they're lovely. This is a really simple pullover design, or I should say slip over design, that I came out with and was released in January of this year. I'm really proud of this one. I think it's got different techniques in it that maybe you haven't dabbled in before with double knitting. It's top down. The gauge is a pretty hefty gauge. You're looking at 14 stitch gauge count per 10 centimeters 4 inches, and I have knit this monochromatic. So I've done 2 different yarn options. I did a very like a bulky weight yarn to get gauge, and then I love choosing a variety of different yarns, getting the same gauge and knitting in a very different fabric, which I did. So I did a worsted and a mohair held together, and it creates a cozy but airy with those sides wear. Absolutely perfect in my opinion for spring. Here's what I'm thinking when I get home. I already have my yarn like picked out in my head from my stash. Is I'm going to be doing some color blocking on this, and I'm so excited. I'm thinking of doing one color on the neckband, and I'm planning on, if you are familiar with the pattern or see the pictures here, it's like a mock neck, which is perfect and cozy for chillier months. Leading into the spring, I'm going to take that neck and I'm going to fold it in on itself and stitch it down. And then, so this is one color, and I'm going to block the half top and then the other half of the bottom, front and back panel with different colors. There was an booty right behind me. I don't know if you saw it. It's like this little, like, rodent creature. Oh, it's little. There it is. It's not that little. It's about I'd say like good, like 30, 40 centimeters big. He's apparently an endangered species down here in Mexico. That's the booty. Anyway, sidetrack. Sorry. This is, you know, just being outside. So yeah, I'm thinking of doing a color block version of plug and play slip over, just because I wear that thing so much in the winter, and I feel like I really want this really fun, pizzazzy spring option. So we'll see. That will be going on the deals, I'm sure, when I get back. And my last thing is what I've been knitting on down here in Mexico. I was very strategic about what I was going to bring, what color, and so I'm knitting what will be getting written up, and I'll be doing a call for testers. We're in the very infant stages of this sweater. Is like my black mohair sweater that you will have seen in my video past. Very simple, light, airy, billowy sleeve sweater that was created with chunky mohair. Love the simplicity of it, the versatility to wear of it. I find you can dress it up, down. It's just divine. I think what I'm going to be calling it is Summer in Oslo, because I feel this was exactly where the inspiration came from for that sweater, was my time in Oslo, and just adore the memory of that. What I wanted to do, of course, true to Pierce Gold knitting style, is not just create this sweater in a chunky mohair, which I think obviously that was the vision, but push the limits. So what I've done is I have paired 2 different yarns together, and I'll show you what I have. I'm doing a mohair, I'll talk about the mohair in a second, and a beautiful, just wicked merino wool. So what we're looking at here, this is, I'll try to bring it closer. This is the Knitting Loft Dust. So Knitting Loft is my very favorite shop in Toronto. It's located north of the city, technically, North York. And they just have the best yarn options. Owners is mother-daughter team I've talked about before, Maria and Bruna, just gorgeous humans. And so this is a yarn that they have, it's their yarn. It's Knitting Loft brand yarn. This is Dust, and this color is Lime, and it is divine in my opinion. I picked this out to pair with a very bright neon yellow. This is from Gipal. This is a Danish yarn called Wulia. It's a very light, loosely spun 2-ply yarn. I picked this exact, well, first color, Jasmine, and I'm realizing I always get into a color train of something, and last year it was corals and oranges that had my heart, still do, but we're branching out, and I feel the yellows are starting to take over my life. You're gonna see a lot of yellow soon that I've been collecting, and without noticing until I came down here. I love the combination together. I chose this specific yarn, the Wulia, because it is incredibly light. It's a worsted woolen spun, so it just has this really airy quality to it. Therefore, the sweater will be light, even though it'll be cozy. So this will be kind of probably like a, for me, where I live in Canada, a morning wear, an evening wear, because spring can get really warm in the day. But I think offering a fabric, and I'll show you the fabric, that is just perfect for what I was going for. So it is a like denser fabric that's created, same stitch gauge count, which is 16 stitches per 10 centimeters 4 inches, but denser because, of course, instead of being that like loose gauge with that chunky mohair and the mohair kind of filling up the holes, you do have a bit of mohair, but now you have that thick yarn as well. So it definitely offers multi-season, in my opinion, wear, which is great. And it kind of, I think we'll have to see when it's fully knit up. I think it'll be slightly more casual as well. I feel the chunky mohair definitely allows the sweater to feel fancier on and look fancier. This one I think will have a more, you know, simplistic aesthetic, which is totally fine. I'm going to share as well, full disclosure, I have knit all of these versions, and I've done a few bottom up. So where you're starting with a I-cord cast on, and you're knitting up from the bottom to the body in the round, and then you're breaking to knit flat. This is quite hard to see, but knitting flat to get your panels before the seaming at the shoulder. Totally made sense in my brain. Again, this is technically my third that I've knit like this. And for some, I'm going to share as well, when I did my cast on edge, it took me days to do because the look that I wanted, I wasn't achieving with the cast on that I did with my chunky mohair. I think, and I mean, I'm saying I think, this is why designers, when they're designing a piece of knitwear, they are being very specific with the yarn, the fabric, and that is the yarn that people gravitate to for obvious reasons, because that is the look that they want. When I switched my yarn choice, my fiber choices, the cast on edge was not clean. We were getting bigger stitches on the cast on edge than I wanted, in contrast to the rest of the knit stitches. The only remedy I could find was doing a full I-cord period, then casting on, which is fine. I don't have a problem doing it, but I did try so many different options. This is what I came up with. Coming back from breakfast today, my brain was working on the sweater, thinking like, there's gotta be an easier way. This I'm fine with. I'm okay with doing the I-cord edge and doing the pickup. I know not everyone is. I also know that knit items from the bottom up scare a lot of people and are not really people's jam for trying on reasons, for construction, all these things, yarn consumption. I understand. This is where I am. My brain only figured out today, on like day 6 of knitting this should be in top down. I don't know why this didn't come into my brain. I think sometimes we have such strong visions in our minds. I'll speak for myself, where I think, okay, here's how it's going to work, and then you go off to the races. Even though it's very open on how to do the cast on so many different ways, I didn't even pause to think that this should be top down. The reason why I think now I'm going to change it to top down is because of all those beautiful reasons why we choose top down sweaters. You can manage your yarn much easier if you are on it, like, you know, you have to be a little more strict about how much yarn you're consuming. You can do try-ons much easier. I mean, gosh, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? I'm being open and honest with you about everything. It's a little embarrassing, but there we are. So I think my 6 days of knitting, I'm going to just rip out today and redo. It's going to look the exact same. It's just going to be knit in the opposite direction. And yeah, I mean, technically I could write the pattern both ways now because I've done it the other way too, backwards, you know? Oh my gosh, there we are. But I am excited to be wearing this once it gets done, if I do rip out or not, because I adore this color. I mean, the Pinterest board that's showing it right there. All right, those are my spring options of what I would love to knit. So in general, my plan is 1 plant-based tee, 1 cardigan, whatever that may look like, and this guy, the Summer in Oslo blouse. There we go. Stay tuned for where this is all going. I'll keep you abreast and let you know how things are. If I've switched it to top down, you'll be the first to know. Let me know if you have any questions about the patterns, or maybe what's exciting you for your spring inspirations and what you're casting on. Or maybe also let me know what your favorite plant-based fibers are, since I still have not come across one that I adore. And I want to adore it. I want to. Right. I will ask if you have enjoyed this episode, others like it. I kindly ask that you go and like and subscribe to the channel. If you're feeling ever more, you can click down. There's a bunch of stuff there. There's a Ko-Fi link where you can do a donation. There's the affiliate link for the Woolly Thistle. There are my patterns down there. I also have all of the patterns I talked to today with designers down in the show notes, so check all of that out today. I thank you so much again for joining me today. I'm wishing you the best joy in your knitting, or spring knitting, or maybe transitional knitting as you get into your winter. Take care.